Welcome back aboard Blurred Force One with your boy Mo, and this is the Supercast. The Supercast where we talk about all things superhero and our pop culture media, and that's movies, TV shows, video games. We talk about the news, do some speculation, all that good nerdy stuff. And before we get into the podcast today, you know what to do. Get down there and hit like on this video. Oh man, it is the week of Cinemacon, and so much movie news is going on right now. We got some pretty cool stuff going on that we got to get geeked about. And of course, I'm not going to get geeked by myself. I'm going to bring in one of our past guests and a fan, and I don't want to say fan, but a friend of the show. That's my good friend, Corey Roy. How you doing, my friend? What you been up to, man?
And I'm doing good, man. I'm doing real good. Glad to be back on the show. It's feeling good, man. Cinemacon. One of these days, I want to go to a con. We had GalaxyCon here in where I'm at in Virginia, and I've never been. I'm going to go one time. I know. Yeah. Never been.
Cinemacon, unfortunately, is only for people who are in the industry. So if one day if you get big enough, they'll be like, here, you can come to this. Like John Campia, he goes every year. Or if you want to buy a movie theater and be like, hey, I can go now. Show me all the new stuff. Cinemacon's really dope because we get a lot of cool news about what's coming out in the coming year, this year, next year. So I'm really excited to hear more about that. But you've been up to anything nerdy, man?
Yeah, man. Actually, I have. I'm wrapping up season 2 of Invincible. Okay. Really enjoying that. And I've started to rewatch Spider-Man. I'm talking about going back to the first one, Sam Raimi Spider-Man. Yeah, the Tobey Maguires. It's been a joy. It's kind of like recapturing my younger self when I first saw Spider-Man on the big screen. I've freaking lost my mind when I saw that because we know how Spider-Man was before then on the big screen, and live action was not good. So I've been rewatching the Sam Raimis, man. I'm enjoying it.
That's cool. Yeah, I actually, me and my daughter, she watched it without me, which was fine. I don't, you go do what you do. But she really loves she really loves the original Spider-Man. But she actually her favorite Spider-Man is actually Andrew Garfield, which I don't blame you. I understand why that one appeals to younger people. I like those movies too. Well, me, I have been up to I've been trying to finish Invincible. I really have. I've been trying so hard to admit, but I got a few episodes to go for this season. I did finish Harley Quinn season 5. That was really cool. Not the greatest season, but it had a really cool ending. Enjoyed that. Okay. I've been looking at all the talk about the Switch 2 and being like, nope, too rich for my blood. Can't do that. Y'all have that Mario Kart looks cool. It's not cool enough for $500 for just the console. I'm good on that. I barely play the Switch I have. You think I'm gonna pay $500? Okay. Y'all must not know me. You know me, nerding on a budget. That's my MO. Speaking of which, this might become a regular segment on this show. I don't know if y'all like it. Let me know.
What you got for us?
It's time for Nerding on the Budget with your boy Mo, because I'm cheap, but I still want. You see all that stuff back there? Never. What they used to say about Ross? Never, ever pay full price. No. So Amazon had a sale. They had a spring sale, big spring sale. So I had to go in and clean up a little bit. I got my boy. Let's see if you can see it without the glare. I can't get it without the glare. But you see Druid from
Eternal.
So
God!
I'm closing in on completing that. So at least the main characters. So I just need Fastos, and I might buy him soon. I think he's $6 right now on Amazon. A little bit more than I want to pay. But also, this is Orm from the most recent Aquaman. $3. Yes. $3, man. $3.
$3.
$3. Wow. Real talk. This is one I really like. I need to get these, but look at that. It's your boy,
Yo,
Miguel O'Hara from Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. $4.49. And in fact, if you hurry up like today, if you really want this one, $4.49 still on Amazon. Go get that. Totally worth it.
That's a good one.
Another one. This is Werewolf by Night, the transformed Werewolf by Night from the Werewolf by Night series. Yes. I think I need one or two more. I think there was only 3 or 4 pops in that series, and the only one I need is Man Thing. So I've got Elsa Bloodstone and I have Jack Russell already. Really cool. I also got bam. One of the Sinister Six, Sandman.
Oh my God, Sandman! Wow.
I believe I paid $6.50 for this. That's a pretty good price. So I have 2 of the Sinister Six now, and this one is really dope. I paid $5.50 I think for that. This was $6.50. This is one of the, and I think I'm going to start collecting these.
What? That's so cool.
The comic book covers. So this is Batgirl.
Oh my God.
This was $6.50. Really, really nice. I have 3 of the comic book covers now. That's dope. Them things are at least $20 each. So that was a great buy. Today, hey, I'm not done. Look, nerding on a budget. We out here in these streets trying to make it happen. So I love physical media. So I went and got one of my favorite comedies. The Other Guys. This is a hilarious movie. $2. Blu-ray, right? Something. Look, this is a real find. Movie. This is a real find. Go look this up on Amazon. It's not cheap. This is the Dune miniseries from that Sci-Fi Channel did about 20 years ago, maybe a little more than 20 years ago.
Wow.
It is hard to find, and it's not cheap. $4 from Goodwill.
Wow.
Pristine.
I've never seen that.
Like most DVDs, nobody watches them multiple times. Not scratched. Pristine.
Wow. Damn, that's a steal.
And just to round it out, I still collect comics. You see my little bookcase back here. I do still collect comic books. So I lucked out. This was $4.50. This is Batman. It's a recent. This is a Scott Snyder Batman. This I found this for $4 at Goodwill. Cheshire Crossing. This is about Alice and I think I forget Alice, Wendy, and Dorothy. And this is by Andy Weir, who wrote The Martian. So I'm really interested in seeing that. Then we got I got X-Men Blue. This was $2. Yes. This was $2. $2.
$2.
$2. Because I caught them on a sale. Caught them on a half off sale. This was $4. This is a New Mutants from back when I was reading it like almost 10 years ago. I want to say 10, 15 years ago. And another New Mutant.
Wow.
So they were both $4 each. So I'm not saying I made out like a bandit, but I mean,
I think you did.
Look, when you're nerding on a budget, this is my advice. First of all, be prepared for failure, but you got to make the rounds, man. I'm always whenever my days all come around, I hit all of them, right? And I've got a lot of Goodwills in town, but I hit them all up and see what do y'all got. And a lot of times nothing, not a thing. Hit up the Ross, not a thing, right? But sometimes you come up with a come up, and you just got to be on the lookout. And you too can get this wall of Funko Pops. you too can get like all of these action figures and everything, and you don't have to break the bank to do it. So that's what I've been doing. That's nerdy. But this is the Supercast. Of course, we are going to talk about all things superhero in our pop culture media. This is quite a week. As I said, Cinemacon is running. But other momentous things have been going on. We got rumors, all that sort of thing. These are things that we are going to cover this week. An acting icon and a superhero, movie icon has passed away at the age of 65. Val Kilmer, we're going to remember him. Mahershala Ali is about to go make a movie with Bassam, what's the name? Bassam Tariq. These are names that you should know if you give a damn about Blade. And I just kind of wanted to note that this is happening and not Blade. Speaking of, there's a rumor about what's going on with Blade. What could that be? I'm sure it's not bad at all. Tom Hardy talks about the never happened but could have happened crossover with Tom Holland's Spider-Man and Venom. HBO adds another Lantern to the Lanterns series, and let me just say the bowl cut is going to be in the house. Beau DeMayo says some bullshit, and he's hating. Why is Beau DeHATER hating? We'll talk about all of that. Then we're going to talk about some Cinemacon news. What's going on with DC and what's going on with Marvel. Should be some interesting stuff. So, Corey, good amount of stuff to get through. You ready, man?
Oh, yeah. I am so ready, yo. Let's do it.
All right, let's get it. So, let's start off with the bummer news, which is Val Kilmer passes away at the age of 65, which I'm not surprised by. Like, I don't know if you're surprised by this at all, Corey, but not really surprised by this because it's known he did, battle with throat cancer to the point where he actually could not speak. I don't know if you saw Top Gun Maverick, but there's a scene and he basically doesn't talk. He just writes, what's going on. Then there's a part where he does talk. That was not him. That was someone else dubbing in a voice for him through ADR. But it did really kind of sell that scene. Like, and in fact, I would say him showing up, I didn't expect it because I had known, like, you remember, did you see on, like, I think it was on Amazon Prime, they had a whole little documentary about him and that he's lost his voice and everything like that. So I didn't expect to see him at all because of his health problems, and yet he was really powerful in that movie. But what it really has to do with superhero stuff is, of course, he was Batman, right? He was Batman back in the prime of his career, I'd even say. And
yeah,
some might argue one of the worst Batmans, but I'm not gonna play that game. I'm really not gonna play that game. I think it's fair to say that Val Kilmer was one of the best young actors of the 80s. When he showed up in things, it was dope. He was also in one of those movies that everyone kept seeing at Blockbuster and they never quite rented. Which I'm trying to remember, what was the name of that? It was an action movie, not The Accountant. What?
Doomsday?
It's not The Shadow. What was the name of that movie? Because Key and Peele made fun of the fact that they called him remember they called him Valley Kilmers, and they were like that one The Saint. There it was, The Saint. The one movie you kept seeing it. You would go to Blockbuster and you like that might be dope, but I'm like, there's another one. The next time I got this. Next time,
right?
But The Saint always had a tape behind it, so you were like, well, it's in, but like I was, this other one right here. Next time, I'm definitely gonna see it because Valley Kilmer's is that guy.
Right.
But yeah, he passed away at the age of 65. How do you? Well, I'm gonna say, how do you remember Val Kilmer, and what do you think about this? The loss of, like, it's not unexpected, but just like still, 65 is still pretty young.
Yeah, I was kind of shocked when I found out he was just 65 because he's fairly young. I, know Val Kilmer. I mean, a lot of people know him from two iconic roles, which is him playing Iceman in Top Gun and him playing as Bruce Wayne in Batman and the Batman. I was really glad to see him in Top Gun Maverick because I knew he was dealing with throat cancer. So when I did see him in there, I was like, oh, snap, he's actually in the film. I did not know till you just said it right now that was AI. That was not his voice. But they did a great job, whatever they did, because it it was impactful. It was impactful when he was in there. So I greatly appreciate that. The first time I remember Val Kilmer, honestly, was this movie called Real Genius. It's way, yeah, it was this movie way back in the day called Real Genius. I really did enjoy that movie, man. So shout out to Val Kilmer. Sad to see him go at 65, but he definitely left some gems out there for us.
Definitely. And I think one thing about when these actors, you know, they pass away, people do take the time to go back and look. And I encourage everyone, if you haven't really looked at Val Kilmer's movies, definitely go back and give it a watch. I think he was up there with RDJ and you know, Tom Cruise and all at the time. And like, and I understand he also was a bit of a difficult person. I'm being nice right now. He sounded like he was a dick. And then cancer kind of like got him like, what the fuck? Why am I being this? And so now he's really kind of, you know, as he passed away, people are looking back a lot more with fondness of him as an actor, the characters he's played. And like I said, I ain't playing this whole who's the worst Batman shit. He got to play Batman, which I have to say, ask Nicholas Hoult. That's a dream that he's just is not going to be fulfilled for him. So he got to actually do it. So like kudos to him. And just like I said, rest in peace. We're glad that we had you when we did, and we got the art that you made. So moving on to a little bit more, you know, fun stuff. But we'll see. This is also about something that's indications of you know, something that's not going to be long for this world. Which is a bit of a grim way to say. Mahershala Ali, he's teaming up. This is not a superhero thing, but it's just interesting because it's related. Mahershala Ali is teaming up with Bassam Tariq, whose name you might know if you were following the Blade Odyssey. I want to say it's an odyssey because it hasn't made its way to shore yet, to home yet. But he was one of the directors that was attached to the movie until he wasn't. Until he, you know, creative differences, scheduling, whatever happened. But now he and Mahershala Ali are making a movie together. It's called Your Mother, Your Mother, Your Mother, and it's an action film. So these two, what do you notice about this? And what's Mahershala Ali not filming? What's he not filming?
Blade.
So he's doing an action movie with the guy that would have directed Blade, and he's not working on a Marvel movie, which dovetails very nicely with the next thing I wanted to talk about. So we'll do this as a whole. The rumor that Marvel Studios has canceled Blade. That's the rumor. So, Corey.
I know, man.
Didn't we talk about this like a year ago? I feel like we talked about this a year ago. So, man, is Blade ever... bro, you can't... A black vampire just can't win in Hollywood nowadays.
I know.
How fucking hard is this? I'm so serious. How hard is it? They made Blade 3, which is terrible. If you can make Blade 3, how come you can't make this? Like, Blade 3 is awful. And I don't believe that this script was so bad that they couldn't just greenlight it. What is happening here, man?
Man, this is sad because I would have loved to have seen Blade on the big screen. It's still, you know, one of my favorite comic book movies. I remember watching Blade 1 and I was like, damn, this is good. Then they hit me up with Blade 2 with the Daywalkers and that virus shit. I was like, this is good. I really love those two movies like back to back, but you know, let's be real. By the time they come out with Blade, Mahershala Ali would have been aged out. He would have been 70 by the time they finally would have came out with that. So it's sad, but you know, if I guess I'm feeling like if they couldn't get we've heard the rumblings, they couldn't get the script right, they couldn't get this right, they couldn't get that right. And I'm just kind of feeling like if you can't get it right, especially since it's been so long since we've seen Blade, I want them to get it right if they're going to do it. I just don't understand why they can't get it right though. But if you can't get it right, I'm just like, just don't even do it. Just start over, figure out some other way to get him in here. But at this point, there's no way you can get Mahershala Ali. He gonna be too old by the time they even get to Blade for real.
They gonna make him Whistler, and I'm gonna be mad. I don't want him to be Whistler. God damn it!
With the bum leg.
It is. I think this is one of those situations of just like somebody's like, I want to be this character, and Feige was like, well, you have 2 Oscars. I can't say no to this. Yes, motherfucker, you can say no. We have no plans, no script, no idea. We hadn't even thought about vampires. On the real. We got all this other stuff going on. We don't have room for vampires right now. He could have said that. He could have said, hey, this. But no, he was like, you got 2 Oscars. We're going to make this happen somehow. And that just goes to show that even Kevin Feige can sort of flub some things. This is what pisses me off about it. And I don't usually try to get pissed off about the thing. What pisses me off about it is the disservice it does to an Oscar winner of great talent, of extreme talent, but also a disservice it does to the character. It's now a joke. They made a joke out of an amazing character who Wesley Snipes, his turn in the character has really cemented that Blade is a dope character in the minds of people who are our age or a little bit younger. And when we even show that, when you show this movie to younger people, they really connect with it. Mm-hmm. So they're basically just taking all of that goodwill and just like trashing it because they can't get it together. And this is the problem of announcing shit when you don't really have a plan for it.
They gotta stop doing that.
It's okay. Like it would be like they announced it would be like if they said, "Oh, we're gonna do a New Warriors movie because some actor really wants to be Night Thrasher." And then it takes 10 years. Like, people are just going to be like, you just ruined the whole character. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it's annoying. It's I hate this. And I hate that they ever announced it. I wish they had just said, hey, let's develop this and see what happens. But what happened, and probably Blade is never going to happen. At least not Blade with Mahershala Ali. It's not going to happen with Mahershala Ali. I think they're going to find another black actor and just get, that's probably in their late 30s and give it to them so they can work for 10 years. We'll see.
Yeah.
So that sucks. I hate it. I hope that room is wrong, but also probably it's not. We'll see.
Yeah, the odds of it being pretty right are about 99.99%.
It feels like it. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll let you guys know if we find out more, if they confirm this rumor. Speaking of missed opportunities, and this is another one that really annoys the shit out of me. I'm going to say this because you remember back in what was it? Venom? I forget, was it Venom or was it No Way Home, where they're like, oh shit. No, it was Venom. It was Venom, Let There Be Carnage. Where he just gets, the post credits, he gets like transported. And I'm like, oh shit, they're doing it. I'm like, Michael Scott, it's happening. It's happening, y'all. So I'm like, that, right? Okay, cool. And the shit goes nowhere. No Way Home, it's No Way Home is just like, yeah, some dimensional stuff happens. We ain't got no room for you in this. Just go drink with Danny Rojas, and then and then go back to your universe. And I was like, I spent that whole movie, I spent all of No Way Home being like, so Venom's coming, right? He's coming, right? Oh wait, he's not. Fuck y'all. First of all, fuck you, Marvel, and fuck you, Sony. There was no. What was the point? What was the point of that? Well,
another time.
So clear, but they were trying to do something. According to Tom Hardy, they were trying to do something, and it just didn't happen. And it makes me wonder, like, who decided, like, this is not a thing we need to do? Because you have to look. Spider-Man, Venom or no Spider-Man is a novelty that, as I noted, as the movies went on, I was like, this is less interesting because, like, I know people are like, oh, well, it still worked. Did it work, though? Did the Venoms work? The first one was a novelty. It was interesting. The second
one, and then it keeps going downhill from there.
I was like, did it work without Spider-Man? Because okay. Why wouldn't you do this? But he says, we got close. Got as close as I could possibly imagine getting, apart from doing a film together. Which is why I would have loved to have done, because that just means so much fun. And for all the reasons that you explained ultimately in there, it didn't happen, basically.
Mm-hmm. You know, it's a shame, man. Because we all want to see it. I mean, that's one of Spider-Man's biggest villains after the Goblin.
Mm-hmm.
When Venom got introduced, it was Venom. Like, you got to, when you're doing Spider-Man, you gotta want to eventually get in Venom. The problem, this is why I think it didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Because Sony just had too much of their fingers in Venom, and they had already things planned out. And Marvel was looking at the landscape and thinking, okay, how are we going to put this together with what we got going on? And I don't think Sony was really trying to budge, because at the time, clearly they were wanting to make Venom 3. And it's like, how are you going to fit that in? That's why I think it didn't work. Sony needs to just let go and let Marvel do its thing. Because wouldn't it be so good if Marvel actually really did get their hands on Venom? I like Tom Hardy as Venom. I think he's fine. I don't think anything's wrong with him being as Venom. Now, the stories aren't as great because of the way Sony does things, but I would have loved to see Venom in this series. I think they absolutely could have done it, especially when you bring in Andrew Garfield back and Tobey Maguire. Why couldn't Venom have been one of those? You brought all the other villains from all the other universes. It's very possible. The only also issue is that he's an anti-hero. We know Venom is not an anti-hero in the early days of Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's a villain. He winds up becoming an anti-hero later, getting with S.H.I.E.L.D. and all that kind of stuff, because I think he gets with the
Eddie
jock.
Brock.
Yeah, he's with Eddie Brock. So I don't know. It's one of those things where I don't think it could have fit at this time, but I clearly can see this fitting later down the line.
Yeah. I said Eddie Brock. It's Flash Thompson. That's who it was.
Flash Thompson. That's what it was. Flash Thompson. Yes.
So
yes.
What kind of like, what's kind of weird to me about this is all they had to do was take out one of the damn villains from No Way Home and slot him in there. And it's a multiverse thing. So it didn't even have to, it could be Tom Hardy, but a villainous version of Eddie Brock. It could
absolutely.
It could, but they were like, no, they've got to be the ones that we saw from the other movies. Okay, fine. But even still, there's if he's an anti-hero, they still have the two heroes meet and beat each other up until they realize they're on the same side. That was always possible. You could have taken out, in my mind, if you had taken out Dr. Octopus, it'd have been fine. It'll have taken away an interesting scene. But I don't think Dr. Octopus was that super important to No Way Home. Really, the most important people were Electro, or you could have taken out Sandman. Sandman would have been and slotted in. There were places. This was Sony. I think this is Sony's fault. I honestly think this is Sony's fault, because they really thought their Spiderless verse was going to be a thing, and the reason why they thought it was going to be a thing is because Venom accidentally became a good movie. The first movie was a good movie, and it had a ton of goodwill. Even though the other ones weren't that good, but that really made Sony think like, oh shit, man, we get out of here, Mark. We don't need that. We got Venom, boy. Y'all, you ain't see that. You ain't see Venom, and we about to hit Morbius, and we about to do Craven. We about to do all of that. About to blow that
Madam
whole
Web.
all that MCU stuff is gonna be trash. They gonna want all of our stuff. So they were full of themselves after one. That was like when the Mummy was coming out. We're like, we're gonna do the Dark Universe, man.
The
It's
Monsterverse.
we're gonna have all the Dark Universe. It's gonna be the next MCU. Let's drop the. Except
yes,
they got one. You get one good movie, and you thinking, I don't even need you, Marvel. Meanwhile, Marvel is doing better with your Spider-Man than y'all ever did with Spider-Man. This is no shade to Tobey Maguire or Andrew Garfield. I like both of them. But Tom Holland's Spider-Mans are objectively more successful than any of the Sony produced Marvel movies. So I mean, sorry, Spider-Man movies. So we missed an opportunity. They and in retrospect, they got to be kicking themselves. They got to be thinking like, we would have gotten because remember, No Way Home made over $1 billion. It's one of the most successful Marvel movies ever, right?
Yep.
And they would have gotten so much pop out of that. Like, I'm not even kidding. That little bit, it's so annoying that they just did that post-credit scene. If he had been an actual character that did some stuff in the movie, talk about the pop for Venom. It would have been Venom, The Last Dance. The pop for that would have been enormous. Or better yet, if they had said, fuck sending him back to the Sony Spider-Verse, let's keep him in the MCU.
Thank you.
That would have been even better. Sony would have been able to play in the sandbox. They didn't have to. They would have kept their Spider-Man, because then they would have kept but it would have been the MCU, and they would have benefited. But look,
that's what I thought they were going to do.
Clearly, I don't.
Sony fucks it all.
Clearly, I'm stupid. Clearly, I'm stupid because the people that get paid to do this, they know better. But
yeah, I was like Mo when he went in that portal. I was like, oh, okay. Y'all set me up now. Don't fail me now. I'm thinking this is on. We about to put him in another verse. We putting him in the MCU. That's where I thought we was going with this.
The good old okie doke.
Sony had other plans. They hit us with the rope-a-dope, and they gave us fucking Venom: The Last Dance that tanked, and they gave us Kraven the Hunter, which wasn't that bad. But the Madam Web was awful. I mean, you can't do a Spider-Verse without a Spider-Man, and that's the problem.
I'm gonna put it in terms that I think you'll understand. They hit us with the Hollywood Hulk Hogan. They hit us with the Hollywood. It's not
gonna work for me today, brother.
they hit us with that we thought he was on our side. Nope. Definitely not. I'm gonna put Just for Men on my side.
Yeah.
Just so you know, I'm evil. I'm evil. This is blonde. This is definitely gonna be black.
Oh man. That's funny.
Oh my god. Okay, so anyway, it almost happened. Thanks a lot, Sony. You guys suck.
Yeah.
Thank God you guys have given up on actually trying to make any of the Spider-Man stuff, because it's not like y'all lack talent. You just lack vision, I think that's the problem. You lack vision. Go ahead and let Feige and them turn it into the MCU. So
please.
So moving on, let's a quick bit of DC news. This is just a bit of casting news. I think it's interesting. And it is that the Lantern series, which by the way, I'm quite interested in. We know we got Aaron Pierre. He's going to be Jon Stewart. Kyle Chandler, he is going to be the DCU's Hal Jordan. And it's all taking place on Earth because, I mean, space is expensive to CG, for real. Yeah, got to keep these TV shows down to a budget. But that doesn't mean we can't bring in a little bit of extra talent. An ego the size of the room, and also a bowl cut that just won't quit. Of course, Nathan Fillion is going to be showing up in Lanterns as Guy Gardner. They have not cast the DCU's Batman yet, so we unfortunately will not see him get punched out. But you know what? We can wait and hope. Uh, I love this. I love Nathan Fillion. I think he looks amazing as Guy Gardner. All of you nerds that are complaining about his bowl cut, go read a fucking comic. And also shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, Nathan Fillion, which also he seems very comedic. Guy Gardner is he can be very serious. And when he's very actually in the comics, when he's very serious, he's dope. He's not a joke. He can kick ass. But generally speaking, he's kind of a bit of a comedic version of a Lantern. But he's showing up in a very serious show that's talking about a murder and like some implications that are related to the Lantern. So, what do you think about this? He's showing up. He's showing up in the DCU's serious Lantern show.
I'm happy about this. More Nathan Fillion is always good. He's such a good actor. He has comedic timing. He can be serious. Like, Nathan Fillion is just a bomb. And look, a Guy Gardner can be a bit obnoxious, you know. So I think with this Lanterns film, I think it can be really cool with him playing like this obnoxious, like out of pocket buddy cop role with the other Lanterns. I think it's just going to fit so well because the Lanterns are like the police in all these different galaxy sectors. So I think this is a good move. And if you had to have somebody that you're going to add to this, Nathan Fillion is the guy.
Yeah.
No pun intended. Guy Gardner.
He is the guy.
The guy.
I think that this is first of all, I think that this is a chess move. If you call him a knight, he's jumping into this to tie it back to Superman, which is coming. We're getting Superman, right? They're filming Lantern. You've seen him in Superman. Like, this is very deliberate, I think, to make sure that all of the DC properties are tied together in a way that the audience understands, right? And so it'll give in. This is if you think of it as marketing, it's incentive to go get HBO Max because you like Superman, you like the superhero things, you like Guy Gardner. He's a dick and he's got whatever, but you like him. Oh, he's gonna show up in this Lanterns thing. What's this Lanterns thing? Oh, there are more people just like him with the ring doing cool stuff. All right, let me check out HBO, and it is HBO, by the way. It's not Max. It's HBO. This is going to be on the cable channel, right? And on Max.
Wow.
So they are most definitely leaning hard. Like I was talking with Polly last week about this. Warner Brothers Discovery sees DC as it is a flagship property. The IP is super important. So I think, and by the way, I'm not saying this is not, creative, what do you call it, executive interference. I think that this speaks to the nature of superhero comics, which is the thing that Marvel has been slowly teaching people over the course of the last, almost 20 years, is that you have to pay attention. They're all connected. They're gonna go weave in and out and everything. That's what us comic fans know about. They are constantly weaving in and out of each other's stories. And if you want the complete picture, you got to watch it all, right? And so, Guy Gardner being a part of this is just drawing people's attention to the other DCU properties. And it's very important because DC has to hit everywhere. It has to hit on TV, animation, video games, and most importantly, it's got to drive people to the movies.
Right.
Because that's where the money is, right? So keeping this IP train, keeping the hype train, keeping people invested and excited about the stories that are told about these characters is important. And keeping the connections fresh in people's minds is important too. So I think it's very smart. And you're right, Nathan Fillion is dope. So I can't wait. Like, yeah, absolutely. I think I saw him talking about being Guy Gardner on a clip from, of all things, the Jennifer Hudson show. Which,
really?
yeah,
Wow.
she interviewed him, and he was talking about having the bowl cut. And he's like, I might rock the bowl cut. And I was like, you're a braver man than me. Fuck that. Ain't no way I'm rocking that chili bowl. Fuck that noise.
I know. Ooh, cannot do that.
So that's
no
cool.
way.
Really cool, and I can't wait to see some pictures of him from that. And I'm sure it'll be coming up soon, and we'll let you guys know all about it then. Let's talk about, speaking of foolishness. Beau DeMayo, you know what? Look, as a black man, I just have to say this Negro makes me.
Yeah.
Look, Polly and I talked about that's a month ago when he had a video. He was explaining his whole situation at Marvel. I'm very sympathetic to all of that. Been a lot of talk about, like, why did he get fired? What happened? Right? And he's told his side. Marvel says what they had to say. There's I'm assuming the court case is proceeding. He's suing or whatever for wrongful termination. He's accusing them of harassment or not listening to basically an unsupportive work environment and everything like that, and that they're just they're trying to ruin his name basically. And I'm like, all right, cool. You know what? I'm with you. I don't want any of that to happen. All right, I'm listening. I'm sympathetic to what you have to say. But then he's been saying some weird shit. Like, do you know who the artist Ethan Van Sciver is?
No, I don't.
He's an artist. He's been doing comics for a long time, like 20-ish years. I remember reading he was on Green Lantern with Jeff Johns for a while. Good art.
Oh, wow.
Also a fucking racist ass dude. He's racist as fuck. He has not had any mainstream work because of that. He's one of these chuds that talks about wokeness and shit like that. He has supposedly was doing supposed to be doing creator-owned comics. As far as I can tell, hasn't produced it, even though he's had Kickstarters and shit for him. Basically, he's a right-wing troll that happens to know how to draw, and he hates wokeness. So fuck that guy for that. But
yeah,
Beau DeMayo would seem to be the last person to fucking like shit by that guy or even want to talk with this guy, but he has. On Twitter. First of all, you still on Twitter, what the fuck? But
yeah,
he's liked his stuff. He's wanted to talk with him. And then, look, I'm not saying you have to like everything that has black folk in it. I'm not saying that at all. You don't have to. If you genuinely did not like, Black Panther, all right, shit's just not for you. I get it. It's all good. But this man got on Twitter and was trashing the Avengers Doomsday cast reveal. He was trashing. He said, so I'm gonna read it straight up. Excuse me. X3's Beast. First of all, X3's Beast, fuck you, dude. Beast was in X-Men 1 and X-Men X2 X-Men United. So fuck you for saying X3's Beast.
Yeah.
All right, Falcon sidekick. Once again, fuck you, dude. That's Captain America and Falcon, you asshole. Shang-Chi, fuck you for that too. Shang-Chi was dope as shit. Thunderbolts is fun. Look, we haven't seen it yet, but I like those characters. All dope. He says these are not iconic characters that Marvel has invested time in building audience affinity with. This is the same mistake they made with the Eternals. No, it's not. You know what? I got some choice ass words. I've already said some of my choice ass words, but I will note this sounds to me like a motherfucker that's ready to make that turn into the right wing griftosphere.
Yeah.
Where he's this motherfucker's talking about, he's so close to saying DEI woke bullshit, right? And he's so close to being that one pick me. He is so close to be. He's gay and black, right? Apparently, he was raised by. I guess he was raised by white people, but I don't know. He was adopted, but gay and black, and he's gonna be that pick me. That's on shit with Nick Fuentes talking about how great white supremacy is, or with Nerdrotic talking about how there's too many black people and things. He's close to that shit. Anyway, I got more to say to roast this motherfucker, but I want to hear what you guys to say, because I'm getting mad just looking at this fucking tweet.
Look, man, I'm with you, Mo, man. Beau DeMayo, Twitter ranting and going on social media saying all this. I'm like, that Marvel not investing in these characters, and Shang-Chi and Falcon and Beast and Thunderbolts. I'm like, the funny thing is there's a lot of people just telling him to shut the fuck up. Like, because people are tired of it. Look, I got to give it to him. What he did with X-Men 97 was good. I can't take that away from him. But a lot of people are getting on here to just tell him, you need to shut the fuck up. Like, really, he just needs to stop. He's bitter. And he ain't doing himself no favors with anybody trying to come to him later after the fact. Maybe we'll pick him up. Nobody's going to go after this guy after this. And look, I'm a black man. I understand all that. But look, bro, shut the fuck up. That's how I feel. Because now you're in a whole nother realm now. Like you're saying, he's 1 inch away from going into a whole nother realm of this right wing stuff. I mean, really, him and Kanye are probably Twitter talking right now.
I call him Beau DeHATER, because that's what you sound like. You sound like a fucking hater. Like, like I get it. Maybe these weren't the cast announcement that you were looking for. And by the way, there are plenty of people that were already in other movies, right? It's not like that was the only one. But beyond that, it's pretty clear there's more people that are coming, right? Mm-hmm. And you notice, like, why didn't you say shit about the Fantastic Four? We hadn't seen them before. Why didn't you say anything about them? Why didn't you say anything about Professor X and all these other people? You said Beast. Arguably one of the most recognizable X-Men possible. I don't give a damn that the X-Men movies haven't been out in a long time. Everyone knows what Beast looks like.
Yes,
that's look at the way he says X3's Beast, as if Hank McCoy wasn't in the first 2 movies that people love.
No.
So
Kelsey Grammer wasn't even there.
This is what I'm saying. Like, this goes from like, oh well, I'm just disappointed, to like, no, you're intentionally trying to frame this because you're a fucking hater. You're salty as hell. That shit is going on, and look. I hope that if you were done wrong, I hope you prevail. But you look like a salty bitch right now. Like for real. And another thing, black people tearing down black people, fuck you, dude. You're sitting out there, you're waiting to try to get super chats and shit from Nerdrotic. Because that's how dare you sit there and shit on Anthony Mackie, who's more accomplished and as an artist, as a storyteller, than you ever have been or ever probably will be at this point. How fucking how dare you shit on him, right? How dare you shit on Danny Ramirez like that? Who have been in other movies, right? You're shitting on Simu Liu, whose movie in another year that wasn't COVID related would have made $650-700 million. You know? Talking about the Eternals, again, which you may not have liked the movie, as far as storytelling goes, was pretty good. But even if, all right, so you don't... The Eternals had not a fuck thing to do with this cast announcement. There's not one Eternal in it. Why are you bringing them up? You're saying
That's so true.
You're saying they spent no time building an audience affinity for that. Oh, you're saying Anthony Mackie hasn't been in enough? This is that he doesn't deserve the shield because people don't really know. Man, get the fuck out of here. Anthony Mackie's been in the MCU since, Captain America: The Winter Soldier. So fuck off with that shit.
Yep.
Like this is, I swear, like, and
It's
this
frustrating.
this is very simple. I'm gonna keep it a buck right here. As soon as he makes that turn, and it's coming, as soon as he makes that turn into being the token black dude, and when he makes that Tyrone Magnus turn, Tyrone Magnus.
Yeah.
I followed him as soon as he started with this woke shit. Unfollowed immediately. Unfollowed him immediately. As soon as he started talking about wokeness, anti-wokeness, unfollowed immediately.
Yeah, I used to follow him. I don't follow him anymore either.
No, fuck that. If you're in this time that we're living in, we gotta pick sides. We gotta draw lines in the sand. You start on that anti-wokeness shit, all you're saying is I'm a racist and I don't need to support you at all. And at that point, I don't give a fuck about any of the shit you got going on. I'm not gonna support that stuff. So Beau DeMayo, stop being a fucking bitter ass late. I'm not even saying you lost. Let that shit play out in court. But all of this culture war, anti woke shit, if that's the game you're playing, you can fuck right off.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm one guy. He doesn't need my support. But a lot of us who like your X-Men 97, we don't like it that much. I love X-Men 97. Pretty sure somebody else can tell the story just like you. You ain't the only gay black person in Hollywood. Yeah, not the only gay black person in Hollywood that can write. Hell, you're not. Other people, there are other marginalized people that can tell the same fucking story you can. So,
yeah, there's another Beau DeMayo out there just waiting to get a shot.
Yeah,
right now they can pick him up today.
Yeah,
so
but
I don't know why he think his shit don't stink.
Yeah, but it's DEI then, right? Fucking idiot. Anyway,
it
like I said,
me off too.
I hope if you were done wrong, I hope you get justice. But fuck you for that tweet. So anyway,
tell him why you mad, Mo.
Yeah, tired of these coon ass Negroes. That's what I'm tired of. And he looked like he's ready to get up there and shug and jive. So fuck that. Let's talk about something more fun than that. Let's talk about Cinemacon. This is, of course, the NATO puts this on. No, not the soon to be dissolved North Atlantic Treaty Organization, thanks to a certain person that's in the White House. No, we're talking about North American Theater Owners, which is a more interesting NATO, at least in terms of entertainment. And they are holding Cinemacon, which goes on for about 4 or 5 days this week. As we are speaking, Disney is doing their presentation, but we saw enough to see what are the superhero fans. What do we get? What do we get out of this? Which is actually some pretty interesting things. DC, as part of the Warner Brothers panel, did present something, but not much. And you might be surprised by that because, look, everyone's like, oh, what's coming with DC, man? What's coming with DC? Come on, James Gunn. You got to tell us a whole lot more. And need I remind you, people, James Gunn isn't Kevin Feige. He's not going to put up, he's not going to do like in The Boys, season 4, where they put up the big slate of 27 things that are coming in the next 7 years. Not doing that. Instead, it was a very, low-key, hey, we're working on stuff. But, all right, here's something for you guys. Here's a sneak peek at what we're working on, Superman. Which I would like to say is probably, this could officially be called the beginning of the real marketing for this movie. I was mentioning before we got on that marketing for a movie that's coming out in July is usually about 3 months for a blockbuster. I think that this movie is so important to DC and to Warner Brothers that they are starting the full court press now. They are starting this now. And they started with a sneak peek, kind of an expansion of a scene that we saw in the trailer, which was, for whatever reason, Superman was beat the fuck up and fell into the Arctic snow. and he needed his good boy Crypto to come get him and take him back so that he could get healed. And this, I guess we could do a sort of a bit of a trailer review of this, wherein Crypto comes out and after a little bit of coaxing, drags him back to the Fortress of Solitude, and we meet the little helper robots that basically help him get healed. I have some thoughts on this, but I do want to hear what you have to say about it. What do you think about this little scene, this expanded scene?
I thought this was great. And you're right. James Gunn is really putting the full court press because we as an audience have been clamoring for a Superman film for years. A legit Superman film of hope. Now, even though the Zack Snyder, we did get Man of Steel, I'm talking about this kind of Superman. It's a little different. James Gunn is really capturing the essence. What I've seen in these trailers, I'm all in. I loved watching this. I had nerd tears. I did. Because it was so good. James Gunn must have a lot of confidence in order to show us this. This was not short either. This was like 3-4 minutes long. The only thing I don't like is I wish I didn't see it. I would have loved to just see that in the movie. I just didn't want, I want to see it, but I don't want to see it because now I'm like, damn, he showed me such a good part of the movie that I'm like, but I love the fact that he's making Crypto like a dog. Like he is a dog. He's jumping on him. He's trying to figure out what's going on. He thinks he wants to play. It's fantastic. But it shows me that James Gunn must have a ton of confidence in this film to show us so much of this part to the public. It wasn't like he just showed it to people that showed up at the con. He showed it to the public.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Well, and they played it at the Warner Brothers panel, so then they turned around and released it for us. First of all, great CG on the dog. They prioritized that just for this particular scene. It's, I think we learn a lot about this movie. One thing, like the most tired, and I'm not kidding, the most tired criticism of Superman, the wrongest criticism of Superman is, oh, he's too powerful. Nothing can hurt him. Why should it matter? Like he can just do whatever. And even David Corenswet sort of talked, like earlier in the week, there's a Time magazine article where they're talking with James Gunn and what was it? Nicholas Hoult, David Corenswet, Rachel Brosnahan talking about the movie. Like I said, full court press. They are so serious about this.
Yeah.
And I love that James Gunn was talking about why he chose David Corenswet. And he told him just like, look, you can't be a diva on set. You have to care about the people on set. You can't be an asshole. You got to come in and because you got to think about it. He is the title character, which essentially means he is the captain of the team. Yeah. And so he needed him to be, he said, I want kindness on set. And he's like, that's just who he is as a person, which you don't have to say too much more to me about that. Chris Reeves, as I understand, was that guy too, right? He was also that guy. So bringing that to the set and that he just really, like he embodying the character. I'm not saying that David Corenswet is Kal-El, but we need to know that he can embody that character. So knowing that as a person, he's already sort of there anyway. Dope. Yeah. But the whole idea that he's a guy that's super strong, he can't be hurt. What's the point? There's no tension. Well, that's put to rest because the motherfucker's hurt. He's hurt as hell. Something beat the shit out of him. Bad. Like real bad. Like if he weren't Kryptonian that just loved the, he's the one white person on Earth that's just like, more sun. I can't burn. Right. So like literally that's the solution. It's like, it is so DC. It is so Silver Age. I fucking love that. The answer was he's got all this Kryptonian technology and robots, and not one of them says, let's prep him for surgery. They're just like, nah, shine a light on him. Make him like an ant under a magnifying glass. Get his ass like that.
For real. Give him a shot of sun. That's what he needs.
Yeah. Like what? You know what he needs? He needs a tanning bed. That's what he needs. He's looking too pale. It was really the robots. The robots have personality. That's cool. I enjoyed that.
I like that too.
But I think what really shined to me is Crypto's not a good little boy. I was like, this motherfucking dog. I swear to God, if Lassie was like this, Timmy would have been down that well forever. He'd have never been rescued if Lassie was like that. I mean, he's just sitting there jumping on him. I get it. He doesn't understand. He doesn't understand what Kal-El is trying to say. But I'm just like, man, I need rescue. If your ass is one of those Swiss rescue dogs, I'm just never getting out of this avalanche. God damn.
Right.
I still love
Crypto. Running circles around him and stuff. Like, hey, where's? I was like, come on, man.
He's like, are we gonna play fetch? Also, that the Fortress of Solitude is cool as shit.
That's how it came out of the ground.
Yeah, it came, and I'm like, so no satellite pictures or okay, all right. I guess the satellites can't recognize it. This big ass crystal thing coming up out of some damn ice, and it rotated and everything. It's a really cool idea.
That was an amazing idea.
Very Silver Agey. I don't know if I'm surprised that they're leaning into the more Silver Age aspect of Superman. But I do like I like Silver Age stuff. So it's pretty I mean, it's cool. I'm interested. I don't think I loved this scene just because it's lacking some context, I think. I don't understand what's happening or whatever. I just know that he's hurt. But I do like Crypto a lot. I like seeing the bots. I want to see more of this. I think that this is just just our first taster, and it's pretty good. So very, very cool.
I'm telling you, merch is going to be off the chain for Crypto.
I hope they get an Aibo. They repurpose some old Aibos and just put some fur on them. I'm with it.
Yeah.
If you're not old enough to know what an Aibo is, I'm sorry.
Don't put it in the comments.
So Marvel also had some stuff going on. And at the actual panel, the CinemaCon panel, basically they showed some footage from the Fantastic Four. And it was basically, they showed Sue being pregnant, presumably with Franklin Richards. And also they showed the Silver Surfer, Shia LaBeouf version of Silver Surfer. So we're not going to get to see that because if they do release it, it's going to just be like bootleg or film footage. So it's, we won't really talk about that. But before that, they did talk, there were some other things that were released at, in terms of posters. They showed new posters for the Thunderbolts. We also got to see, I don't know if you saw this, but one of the Hot Toys or not Hot Toys, Marvel Legends, they released the Sentry, the movie Sentry, so we got to see what his costume's going to look like. Basically, basically looks like it does in the comics. A little more less bright version of it.
Okay.
Also,
that makes sense.
They also talked about Spider-Man 4. This was the Sony panel, so this was earlier in the week. Sony talked about Spider-Man 4. They are the producers, or they are the distributors, so they are going to talk about it. Spider-Man 4 has been given a title, and it's called Spider-Man Brand New Day. And it's based on Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man Most Wanted, and the Brand New Day comics from probably, I want to say, 15-ish years ago, something like that. Which I thought was very interesting. I was like, man, they got the balls to name this Brand New Day, considering One More Day is one of the most controversial, dare I say, hated things that they did. And Spider-Man No Way Home was semi based on the One More Day storyline. Semi. There's no Mephisto. There's no Aunt May, getting almost killed and then he's erasing his marriage. But the very idea that he erases magically his identity to the world. Uh, so that's what it's supposed to be, like I said, based on those two comics. So there's Spider-Man 4. Now, also, we got some information about Beyond the Spider-Verse. Apparently, they had some new footage that we are not privy to because we're not there. But people I followed, they said that they got to see it, said, yeah, they're doing new animation techniques. It looks very interesting. They showed Miles fighting his alternate universe self, that's the Prowler. But also, they're teaming up in some of the footage. And apparently, Miles is wanted by the other spiders, as we saw at the end of Beyond the Spider. I mean, Across the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
So, here's the downside, Corey. I'm sorry. You got 2 more years until this shit comes out. June 2027. Remember, it took 5 years. It took 5 years from. So this will be a 15-year. What the first one came out in 2018? Not 15. So, almost 10 years. And when I say 15 years, I'm saying from development of the first one beginning to the final release of the last one. So for the people that have worked on this, almost 15 years will have passed. I think it's probably more like 13 and a half, something like that. But for us, 2018 to 2020, 10 years to get 3 movies. Crazy.
Wow. People are growing up with this movie. Like, you got kids that are 5 that are going to be graduating high school watching this movie. But everybody's waiting. They're waiting. Like Game of Thrones was, when they had us by the balls and there was nothing we could do but just sit and wait for 3 years for them to come with a finale. That's what they do, man. They got us by the balls. It was a fantastic follow-up, sort of like I guess you can call it the Empire Strikes Back, sort of. It left on a cliffhanger.
Right.
And everybody's waiting for it to finish. Spider-Man is my favorite superhero. The first time I ever saw Spider-Man, which really, that's why he became my favorite superhero, was Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. It was a cartoon back when I was growing up. But yeah, this is, damn, man. I didn't know it was going to be that long.
As I said, as the meme says, well, we're waiting. I think that's from Caddyshack. We're from Caddyshack, but yeah.
That's a long time,
it's too. We got to stay alive until 2027.
Winter is coming. By the time we get this, it'll be like winter is coming.
Well,
it'll be winter.
I just hope that the United States exists as a country by then. So no guarantee on that. So finally, the last thing that they said is that we got release dates for the next Marvel movies after, and I don't think these are all of them, but these are the ones that they're saying for sure are coming out. So we got Avengers Doomsday coming out next May, May 1st, 2026. July 31st of 2026, Spider-Man Brand New Day. And apparently it will, the events of Doomsday apparently will affect this one, and then it will lead into,
which makes sense.
Things that happen in Brand New Day will also affect Secret Wars, which Avengers Secret Wars is coming out May 4th, 2027. So again, we gotta make it to 2027. Which, funny enough, Beyond the Spider-Verse comes out in June of 2027, and Secret Wars comes out in May 4th of 2027. So, we're gonna be eating good, definitely. It's just we got 2 years, so
you're gonna be hungry by the time that come out, though.
Yeah,
but if it's good, it's worth the wait. It's just we gotta wait. But animation does take time. That's the only thing.
It's a full theatrical movie, and they're doing a lot of different things. They got a ton of animators that are working on it. Just like the last one, it took 5 years, but it didn't help.
Yeah,
I think it didn't help that they also waited to greenlight the thing until after. I'm like, they waited. Remember, they didn't greenlight Beyond the Spider-Verse until like right before the other movie came out. So it's gonna take a while.
Yeah. It was like once they knew that movie was a hit, they're like, okay, let's greenlight this next one. Let's get
y'all stop doing this Netflix bullshit. Wait, like so it takes forever between. No, just fucking commit. It's not. Here's the thing. These aren't expensive movies. They're not that expensive. I mean, I think it was 125 million for the last one. The first one was 90, I think 90 something million. 125.
Yeah.
The first one was a hit. What did y'all really think the second one wasn't? Get out of here. Yeah. Sony, y'all fucking up. That's what I'm trying to say.
This is the only thing that I think they got right was this. The Cross the Spider-Verse, but everything else.
Y'all sitting up there. Y'all sitting up there spending money on Madam Web.
Oh God! Don't even get me on.
Y'all sitting up there spending money on Madam Web, and you gonna be like, "We're not sure if this Spider-Verse thing works." Shut up! Like, y'all need to replace whoever's over there. Get them out of there, because they. This is why
what people think about the
title. What was it? For
Brand New Day, or
I mean, I think it's fine. It doesn't mean anything for anyone who doesn't read comics. It's just a title. If you read comics, and my understanding is that that Spider-Man most one that's Chip Zdarsky, so it's a relatively new run on Spider-Man, which I find interesting. But I've noticed that Feige actually does tend to favor comics that have come out within the last 10 to 15 years and not the older runs. That's why we're doing the Secret War we're getting is not the one from the 80s. It's not the Battle World with the
really
not the disco Beyonder. The Secret Wars we're getting is the one from what was it, 2016? Am I wrong about that? 26. The one with Battle World where Doom remakes the world and he's the ultimate ruler of all of these realities smashed together. That's the one they're doing. So he tends to favor the more recent comic runs, which I mean, cool, because the more recent comic runs do reflect the world we live in now, as opposed to the Silver Age stuff. But I will confess, I do wish they would go back and do some of the older storylines. I think that there's room to do for Spider-Man, at least. There's so many great storylines. Some icon. I mean, Clone Saga is a good one that they could definitely do. I mean, if Sony would like let up off of it, they could have done Maximum Carnage. But Carnage doesn't. You know what I'm saying? That's
when they really effed up.
Yeah, they and I could tell that they were angling towards Agent Venom, or like they were in the Venom the Last Dance. They're angling towards the King in Black, which will never come to pass because that Venom wasn't that good. But they're trying some of these things. I just wish that they would actually, they would look back beyond the last 15 years and go back to the 90s or 80s or even 70s for some of their comic runs. I'm just saying. But
there's some good stuff there.
Yeah, the thing is that there's so much that it really becomes like a Sophie's choice, if you will. Which one do you choose and which one do you discard, and will some of them hit? This is all expensive stuff, so they really got to pick the strongest possible stories. But jumping into multiverses, that's a choice, not a good one. I don't think that's a choice for like 10. That's a choice for 2035, not for 2025. Anyway, well, all that being said, Cinemacon, pretty cool stuff. I think we got a lot of good stuff to look forward to. A little,
so too.
We got some breadcrumbs, not a ton of stuff like that's really like giving us all the information, but just kind of getting us ready. And I'm really interested. But the question is we said how we feel. How did you guys feel about it? What do you think about all the Cinemacon stuff, or any of the other things that we were talking about? You have a comment? Maybe you think we missed something, or we got something wrong. You just want to say something nice, you know what to do. Get down there to the comment section, leave your thoughts there. And of course, you can always hit us up. supernotfunnyshow@gmail.com, blurred_force1 on Instagram and on Threads, super_not_funny show on TikTok. And while you're doing that, do me a favor, get down there, hit like on this video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell. All that good stuff helps to grow this channel, helps more people to see this podcast and all of the other content that we make on this channel. And, of course, I couldn't do this by myself. I needed my good friend Corey to come in and just tell me how bad Beau DeMayo will be messing stuff up. Like,
man, this brother, bitter. But yeah, Beau DeMayo has to STFU. That's what he needs to do. Like, seriously, shut the fuck up. But anyway, man, this was good. It's always fun, man. Geeking out about this stuff, all this geeky goodness. A lot of stuff happening. It's a shame we have to wait a couple years before we really eat on some of these things that we're really waiting on. But until then, I'm enjoying to come here to talk to this stuff with you, man. Appreciate it, Mo. And everybody, as he says, subscribe to the channel, man. What are you waiting on? Do it. Do it now.
And where can they see you on our social media?
Yeah, man. You can find me all on the interwebs. Well, really, TikTok, Instagram, Corey Roy _. That's where you'll find me. And you can hit me up on the YouTube channel, GeekSpotTV. I'm there as well. And yeah, man, I'm here.
All right. Well, you guys know what to do. Go and show Corey some love. You know, he really does do some cool stuff over there. And also, you know, hit him up on Threads. And
yeah, that's right. I'm there too.
Geek out with him there too. So thanks a lot, you guys, for joining us. This has been episode 176 of the Supercast. Come back next week. Plenty more news and stuff to geek out about. I think we really need to get caught up on Daredevil. That's really the joint. Some stuff has been happening. Let me just say. So we'll catch up with that.
I've been watching it too.
We'll definitely catch up with that next week. So until then, I have been Mo, your comment extraordinaire on all things pop culture, joined by my good friend Corey. And we'll see you guys on the other side of the thread. Peace.